Who wants to know the secret? We need to use technology to create personalization at scale. Okay, here's 5 key takeaways of what we're doing with our clients, and how you guys can take some of this away today and use a variation of this, or get in touch with us so that we can help. Number 1, we're doing hyper personalized adverts. Why? Because this will drive up inquiry quality and quantity. Okay, we spend 95% of our clients' budget on Facebook and Instagram. Why? Because their targeting options are so robust. Those platforms, like it or not, know absolutely everything about you. Your demographic information, your age, your gender, your net worth, your household size, all the way down to all of your interests. Okay, are you a frequent flyer? Are you a luxury shopper? Do you have an affinity with a certain part of the UK, or indeed anywhere in the world? That's where we, as business owners, we can tap into all of those interests and make sure that our ads are only showed to those ideal prospects. Number 2 is we need to be setting up retargeting. Okay, so if they bounce for whatever reason, what we've highlighted today is, look, that millennial millennial consumer is, because they're so connected all the time and they're so time poor, their attention span has dwindled. Okay, they've got an attention span of a fish. Okay, so it's very easy for them to be halfway through looking at you guys as a business and then just get distracted and go and do something else. That's why retargeting is absolutely imperative. Number 3 is, let's use the Facebook technology, the Facebook pixel, to create advanced strategies, things like lookalike audiences. Here we can go back to Facebook and Instagram and say, look, we like these people who are coming through and actually converting into customers. Go away, Facebook, and find us more of them. That is called lookalike audiences. If anyone wants to learn more about this, feel free to give me a shout, and I'll help you guys out. Number 4 is, look, we want to work smarter, not harder. Can anyone just chuck up some ads? I wouldn't recommend it, because the advanced strategies is where it really starts to sing, and the optimization is really needed. You need to stay on top of it, using things like the dynamic budget allocation inside Facebook, to set where Facebook will actually take your budget and actually deliver it to the best performing ad sets and best performing ads. Okay, but we're getting hyper targeted with the messaging, the targeting, and the retargeting, so that we can bring about a higher quality of person and a higher quantity of person, so that we're already streets ahead of the competition. Okay, that top of the funnel, if we stuff it with a load of crap from the listing sites, it's going to be harder to find the diamonds in the rough. If we put in quality in at the top, once we run through a filtration step, we're going to have a better conversation with those people. Number 2, let's try and remove the time wasters. Okay, so what I always say to our clients is, look, because we are selling the dream day, we naturally attract dreamers. Yeah. Okay, we just naturally do. It's inherent to the industry, right? We're never going to be able to fully extract all of those time wasters from the process. We're just never going to be able to do it, because what happens is, you get people in their mind, they think, right, well, I'm only going to get married once. I want to make a bit of a thing of this. Okay, I want to elongate the process. I want to live in the moment a bit more. But what actually happens is, and it's no fault of the consumer, but as they request the information from you, what they don't understand is that they then fall into your pipeline, where you have to service that inquiry and you have to follow up with them, and it costs you money. Okay, by removing them from the sales process, it's going to improve our response time to legitimate prospects. So we have a way of doing this automatically inside our system. But the takeaway that I can give you guys today is always be testing for responsiveness throughout the sales process. The way you do that is by keeping it as conversational as possible. Okay, so always leaving it on a question. As I said, we have a way of doing that inside our system automatically. I'm happy to show you at some point. Number 3 is know your conversion rates. Okay, so thinking of the sales process as a holistic start and end process. What are our inquiry sources? How many of those turn into an inquiry? How many of those inquiries turn into conversations into tours or quotes, from quote into follow-up, from follow-up into booking? Why is this important in the context of the consumer? Well, modern day consumer, sorry, because we get to diagnose where we have that leak in the bucket. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, I have so many venues that we speak to, and they say to us, yeah, but Tim, look, I get load of inquiries. Well, we get loads of inquiries. And I say, okay, well, look, how many of those actually turned into a conversation? And they can't answer the question because they're not tracking their conversion rate from touch point to touch point. And as an industry, have we been guilty of tracking the wrong metrics for too long? An inquiry is worthless if it doesn't end up in a conversation.
That's true.
And in fact, it'll actually cost you money as a business because
you're spending time follow-up-ing and all of that stuff where you should be focusing on those conversation-making inquiries. Definitely. That's interesting.
Yeah. Exactly. And what we some venues I speak to them and I say, well, look, you're actually paying a team to do the wrong things. Worse still, if you're a smaller venue and you're handling a lot of this yourself, worse still, it's taking up all your time. So it's important to try and spend our time with the right people and really map our conversion rates, because what we know is 70 to 85% is the industry standard, whereby all of those inquiries that come through initially, they're tire kickers, they're brochure collectors, these people that want to live in the moment. And the reason that we're looking at conversion rate is, look, are they a time waster, or is it something in our process that we can adapt and fix? Your cat liked that slide.
Yes, he did.
And that leads us nicely onto test your communications. Okay, I speak to so many venues and they come to us with so many questions. Questions create doubt. Testing creates certainty. Questions like, is our brochure too long? Should we include pricing? Should we put videos on the landing page? The answer is, look, guys, test it and find out, does it improve the opt-in rate? Does it improve sales? Okay. This over here on the right-hand side, this is a little dive into our system. We had one of our clients, he said to us, Tim, we've got a brochure and, we actually built the brochure for them. It's lovely. We love it. I just get a feeling that maybe it's too long. I said, what do you think? I said, look, the millennial consumer, I think my gut feeling is potentially the same. But let's remove that question mark in our mind and replace it with certainty. So we ran a split test for him. Okay, so we had the control, which was the original, and then we had the variation, which was the shortened version of the brochure. This was very early on. It actually turned out that the shortened version was actually a lot more, people were a lot more receptive to it. So it goes back to what we were talking about earlier on, guys. Be succinct, get to the point. If you've got a load of superfluous information in there, it could be time for an edit, but always test. And a top tip is always test scientifically. Always be only testing one variable at a time so that we can actually hang our hat on. Was it that one thing that made the difference? If we're testing 3 or 4, how will we know? Okay, so always be testing one thing at a time. Number 5 is try and systemize the process, guys. Don't be scared of automation, right? Automation creates leverage in our business. Okay, it enables you to be there when you're not there and deliver that kind of expectation that the consumer so sorely needs in this modern day world. And ask yourself the question, where am I most valuable in my business? And I'll give you a clue. It's going to be FaceTime with clients. You want to try and be a booking taker, not a bride chaser. Automate what you can, and bonus points for using the right type of communication channels so that we know it's actually getting through. Okay, where the rubber meets the road and what we have in our setup is the right type of communication channel. Okay, we've got the right lines out to catch the right fish, coupled to automations that just fire off. So going back to what somebody said earlier on and said, look, what we're struggling with is getting back to people from inquiries. What we have is a direct integration with Facebook. The prospect is, as soon as they respond and say, yes, I want more information, they're sucked into our system, and then the system sends them all the information they need, tests them for responsiveness. Are they here to waste our time? Are they here to spend some money? And keeps following up with them for an amount of time. If they self-select out the system, that's great. We didn't want to talk to them anyway. We haven't wasted any time. But if there's some diamonds in the rough, it's going to surface that prospect for us to speak to, but only if they respond. And one of the hardest questions I have to have with venues is, look, get out of your own way. You are the bottleneck in your business. Okay, your business at the moment can currently only grow as fast as your hands can move. Okay, so get out of your own way and try and give as much over to technology as possible. Okay, because one of the slides that didn't make the cut in this presentation, but I'm just going to talk through is, look, do we think this is unreasonable of right now? Do we think those expectations are unreasonable of the modern day consumer? Of course it is. Of course it is. It's not humanly possible to be able to be there when we're not there, because we've got day jobs as well, right? That's the biggest challenge of a lot of small businesses in the wedding space, is that we actually have to go and fulfill on the product we're selling. We haven't got time to be there. So how can you be in two places at one time? That's where we need to use technology to create leverage in our business and outsmart the competition.
It's interesting. It's very...
Yeah, thanks, Oscar. Totally. And then a little bonus tip for you guys is that keep an eye on new tech. So look, some of the things that we're doing at the moment that are working really well for our clients is things like voicemail drops. So what happens is we have the client record a quite a generic soundbite that can be used at any point of the sales process, but we're using it right now from the brochure delivery to the tour request in the venue. And what it says is like, oh, hi, it's just Simone from such and such. We noticed that you downloaded the brochure. We hope you love it. I just wondered, would you like for me to call you and book in for a show round? I'd love to show you around and discuss how, your dream day. And that is what we call the epitome of personalization at scale. So if you imagine that voicemail drop, it leaves a one ring on the phone. The voicemail is left behind. And what that's actually facilitating is loads of inbound calls to book show rounds without any effort from the venue. That's going great guns at the moment. That's doing really, really well. But you could use that anywhere. Another venue said, look, we're really struggling with no shows at the moment on the show rounds. I said, well, let's put them into the countdown. They get the confirmation. They get your 5 days out, 2 days out, 1 day out, please confirm. If they don't respond to the confirmation, then let's drop them that ringless voicemail to understand whether they're actually coming in. And I'll give you a clue, it's completely eradicated no shows at all of our venues.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, no, we're really, really pleased with that. That is as good as the process I think is going to get for no shows. Things like WhatsApp. Look, I know WhatsApp isn't new, but once we add WhatsApp into that kind of mix of communication preferences, all of a sudden you've got this war chest of ability to be able to get connected and stay connected with that prospect, so that when they do disappear, which the modern day consumer does, they go and look at other venues, they go and speak to other suppliers, then at least you're fully connected with them and you can re-engage with them when it matters.
And you can see when they're engaging with your content as well, because you see the deliverability and response as well. It's brilliant.
Totally. It's about having that centralized view of communication with that customer. So when we go into our platform, and I think I've shown you this before, Oscar, you can see whether it's an email, whether it's an SMS, whether it's a website chat, whether it's a Google My Business chat. It all lives under one string of communication, and it logs exactly when that was. We're testing Google natural language processing in the US, not the voice version, but we're testing that as like artificial intelligence, testing over in the US first, because I just think that the UK maybe isn't quite there yet. But that's just keep an eye out for new technology. And again, there's no harm in kind of testing it on a small subset of your audience.
Definitely.
We talk about a lot of this stuff in this little one pager, or kind of like blueprint that we mapped out a little while ago. It talks about the modern day consumer. It talks about how to book more weddings without spending more on advertising. If anyone would like this afterwards, give me a shout. I'll send it over. It just goes into a bit more detail about what we've spoken about today.